the most part, people are good. For the most part. There's most definitely evil. But for the most part, people are good, and nothing can change my mind. What I'm confused about is how I came to these conclusions at the age that I came to them. And I was so shocked. I mean, just completely floored that any of this was reality. I felt like I had been living a lie my entire life. I never saw anything like this before. So unprepared to be outdoors with no money, no system of support. Thank you. Just a terrifying set of circumstances. Now, there are exceptions to every rule. And so when we find people who are committed to bullying and harassing and stalking and causing harm to and causing fear and crying and sadness, I don't think there is a more despicable person or crime. I just Googled assisted suicide. I don't know how many times I can explain this. I don't want to die. I love life. I love being a mom. I want to be with my children. I love Xavier. I love art. I love music. I love fashion. I love fitness. So much that I love, right? But you're not letting me live. You're restricting my free will and autonomy. You're not permitting me to earn my own income. You're not allowing me to sell anything. You're not allowing me to offer any services. You're not allowing me to charge for website building. You've stolen my entire wardrobe 6 or 7 times since 2019. I didn't steal those clothes. I bought them. I worked and I bought them, all of them. You've stolen 4 or 5 of my laptops, 4 or 5 of my cell phones, my lighting, my production equipment, my shoes. You've destroyed my vehicle, my home. How do you hang on to the theory that most people are not evil or good when every day that you wake up, there's a new kind of torture taking place? What do I mean? Heather, what do you mean? Are you being dramatic? What's torture to you? I am dramatic usually. I'm not being dramatic. Torture to me. Here's some examples of torture I've endured myself personally over the last 4 years. Rape. Being physically held down and raped. Unlawful displacement. Being physically thrown out of my own home with rental receipts and a lease in my name in my hand. Corruption. Being beaten up by my then husband, Dylan Smith, who was just released from the IDOC and on parole, going to the state and asking for protection, and the state instead protecting him and throwing me out into the street, where I've remained for the previous 4 years. I've obtained 20 employments, 20. Export, LA Fitness, numerous restaurants, cleaning hotel rooms, cleaning commercial, buildings, cleaning boats. I could go on and on. 20. That's a real count. I have names of all my hiring managers, the dates I worked there. Every single one of those places of employment turned out to be a joke. And by joke, I mean there was some sort of sabotage or torture at each of them. At Export, Dave, the hiring manager, was sitting at a table much like this, sharing a fruit cocktail with me on a Wednesday. When I had been there 2 weeks, I was in uniform, my name in the computer. I have all of this video and documents of all of this. He comes into work on Thursday and says, "You don't work here." And I said, "What do you mean I don't work here?" He said, "You don't work here." I said, "I do work here. I'm in uniform. You hired me. I've been here every day for the past 2 weeks. What do you mean I don't work here?" I turn around, law enforcement is entering the gym, and I'm being told that being there is trespassing. No reprimands, never did anything wrong, didn't have any issues in my background. Go to LA Fitness, get hired at LA Fitness, work there 2 weeks, exact same story. After 2 weeks, I'm sitting on Alexis Galvin's couch in Uptown on my day off, and I receive a text saying from Car Santos, LA Fitness, you don't work here anymore. HR says that your background is unacceptable for employment here with us. Now keep in mind that I worked for 8 years at Northwestern Hospital without so much as a single reprimand before I quit. And I quit and I walked out. If there was an issue with my work ethic, don't you think that it would have been pointed out at Northwestern? If there was an issue with my mental health, don't you think that it would have been pointed out at Northwestern? If there was an issue with my ability, desire, understanding, experience, education, don't you think that in the 8 years I worked at one of the most prestigious hospitals in the country, it would have been pointed out? Probably, right? So as you people continue to follow me around and harass me, I'd like you to keep in mind 3 or 4 things. Back to the torture. What other torture methods? Sleep deprivation. I've been intentionally deprived of sleep for up to 5 days. 5 days was the longest at a time. I was so exhausted after those 5 days, and rather than being assisted in any way, someone came under the guise of being there to assist me, led me on a approximately 3 to 4 mile hike around the city of Chicago, finally led me into a hotel room and looked at me and said, we're going to have sex, otherwise you can't stay. I had been awake 5 days. I was exhausted. We just walked 4 miles in high heels and a ball gown. No sleep. I just laid there while he had sex with my body for 1 night of sleep. Approximately 6 hours of sleep and a shower. That's nice, right? It's sick. Food deprivation. I have a link card through the state of Illinois. I budget for the entire month. So does Xavier. We spend exactly what we're supposed to spend. All of a sudden, everything remaining is gone, or his entire card is gone. 4 or 5 definite times that I was paying attention, numerous times I'm sure it's happened that I wasn't paying attention, but at least 4 or 5 times just this month that I go grab a beverage that is marked with a specific price, take it to the register, and I'm charged almost double just because I have a link card. I'm already only getting $200 and some change to feed myself for the entire 30 days of the month. I don't have a stove, so I can't cook in bulk and meal prep. I have to buy meal by meal. I have no fridge to store things in. It's impossible. So what they do is, you as a responsible adult trying to make your way in this world, because you're a mother of 3 and you're trying to provide for your family, your children, yourself, you budget and you come up with a way to make the little amount of money, the $200, work, and you are grateful for it. And they sabotage you. And then they follow you with their cameras and watch to see how long it will take you to starve or steal. This is what I am living with every single day. There's some probably here at this space right now. They follow me everywhere I go. That's just a few. Let me add a couple more. Technological boxing. What do I mean by that? So what I mean by that is when you're technologically boxed in, everything will appear to be business as usual on your device. You will receive confirmations for text messages, calls, etc., and so forth. But there is an interference. So end-to-end SMS works like this. I write a message, I send it to my daughter, say, right? It goes directly from me to her. There's an interference in the middle. And this interference is hacking in remotely and taking the message I sent and intended to go to my daughter and saying, nope, that's mine. But I would never know that. There's no way with the naked eye just by looking at your phone to know that. I wouldn't know that unless I was able to capture or realize or what's a good word to use? I know my daughter, so I know the way she articulates verbiages and metaphors and phrases. I know her favorite words. I know her, words she never uses. I know nicknames, things of this nature. Candor, dialect, rate of speed of speech, percussion, tone of voice, all these things. So when someone else responds as my child, I can feel when it's not them. But even when I call it out and write a whole entire police report about it, to this day, 4 years after this torture began, I still have not even so much as been acknowledged by law enforcement. Nothing. What other ways have they tortured besides the sleep deprivation followed by rape, robbing me of all my clothing, all of my work materials, spreading rumors, lies, false narratives, falsely perpetuating the narrative that I have some sort of mental health illness, that I am crazy, unable to parent my children. They've sabotaged my businesses. They've sabotaged my relationships. They've sabotaged my ability to parent my children. I'm concerned for the safety of not only my children, but myself. Who benefits, and I've said this numerous times, who benefits from separating me from my children? I have a court order stating that I'm the primary custodial parent of all 3 of my children, Alexis, Viviana, and Lewis. I've only gone to court 1 time in my life over custody, and I won. Joint primary custody. I have legal primary joint custody, yet I can't get a single officer to enforce it. And I've not been able to take my children for almost a year now. The first 3 years of all this harassment and abuse, I was getting beaten over the head with a tire iron, bleeding out, needing to go for staples, and I could still jump in my car right after and drive over and pick up my kids if I wanted. As of the last 18 months, I haven't even been able to pick them up and take them anywhere, or do barely anything with them. I haven't even been able to walk them to the park. The only thing that's changed in my life since Dylan's release is I've been enslaved and imprisoned by some faceless, nameless coward this entire time. I've been beaten over the head with a tire iron, resulting in the need for 5 staples. I've been jumped and stabbed by 3 women with screwdrivers 11 times. All of this is very well documented, and there are more than 30 or 40 police reports on file. Again, all have gone unresponded to. But everyone can seem to gather the money, morale, and resources needed to run endless attempts at entrapment, stalking, harassment, etc., and so forth. But no one can come up with the funding to get me off the street. What else is torture? Being beaten by a man who you've waited 5 years to come home, who you love, who you think loves you, while he falls into a drug-fueled state of rage, calling his parole officer and having the parole officer say, "Sorry, there's nothing we can do." You've never been to my house to check on this man. He just got out of a 5-year sentence for kidnapping a woman. You're not going to come check this out? Sorry, nothing we can do. So I go to the court system with a video. It's still posted on the One Heather GEE Instagram account. A video of him saying, "So what, I beat your ass. You humiliated me. Did you just admit to beating my ass while you're smoking a nitrous oxide balloon on my video?" He sure did. And guess what I did with it? I went straight to the courthouse. I requested an emergency order of protection against him, and I presented that video to Judge Harris and Judge Sandoval. And guess what they did? They denied my request. And guess what happened when I got back to my apartment? Dylan was inside with 2 officers serving me with an order of protection, stating that I was beating him. Do we need to go back to the One Heather GEE account to show how anorexic I was when he came out of prison? I weighed 123 pounds. I'm 5'9". There's no way I could beat that man. That man has been on steroids for 4 or 5 years. He's 200 plus pounds. But they still threw me out into the street with nothing other than a few bags. Not $1, not my car, nothing. Then he tells everyone that I'm sick and crazy, and they involuntarily commit me to Chicago Behavioral Health. And what happens there? I'm held for 7 days, which is a violation of federal law. Federal law states that you can only be held for a period of 5 days, not 7. So that's the first violation. The second violation, HIPAA, all over the place. They're drugging and dosing patients who don't need it. They're drugging and dosing patients against their will. They're allowing huge men, nurses, to bathe women alone, unattended, without physicians, without females. One woman, I remember her name, her age, her date of birth, and I got a signed HIPAA form from her caregiver because I believe she was in danger. She was there for almost 7 years, institutionalized. 2 huge men, and this is honest to God, hold my hand to God, I swear on everything I love. She was held by 2 huge men. They had to be 6'9". They had to be huge men. By the arm, dragged into a restroom where they slammed the door and locked it. She was screaming the entire time, and when they opened the door, the entire corridor filled with the smell of poop, feces. I believe she was getting raped. No one did anything. Multiple Jake, Oxford, Duck, multiple other officers, agents, all seen at CBH being involuntarily dosed with God only knows what the nurse decided to give them that day. They attempted to do the same to me. I adamantly refused that and threatened lawsuit. I'm not dumb. Some people might call it finessing or manipulating. I call it not being a fucking invalid. If someone's trying to hurt you because they see I have public aid insurance, so people who have public aid must be morons. They must be idiots, right? They must be unable to advocate for themselves. They must be dense. They must be fill in the blank. Well, not this one. This one has a college education, and guess what my major is? Medical law and ethics and new business development. So I say to the nurse and her boss, if you people continue to try to hold me down and give me medication, theoretically, not physically, that I don't need, I'm going to have to sue you. I've already seen your organization commit 7 or 8 HIPAA violations. Here's a list of all these patients, caregivers, who came to visit on Wednesday, giving me permission to obtain copies of all of their medical charts because I believe with my entire heart and soul that you people are over-medicating them and taking advantage of them. Medicaid fraud, Medicare fraud, huge in these communities. Did this patient who was getting raped in the bathroom need to be inpatient for 7 years? Probably not. And even if she was going to be inpatient for 4 to 7 years, it shouldn't be in a place that doesn't let you go outside, doesn't help you get better, medicates you into numbness, drags you into the restroom and rapes you. That's a Medicare patient. Who is advocating for these people? I'm intelligent, and there was not a single person advocating for me. Who's doing it for them? I never knew about how ugly and disgusting parts of the world are. And Dylan came out and I had to learn quickly. And I'm still terrified. I've never been the victim of violent assault or abuse prior to Dylan's release. I had never been stabbed. I had never been jumped. Never even been in a fist fight. I've spent every day of my life from the birth of my children through the day they were separated from me, November 24th, 2019, trying to be the best mother that I could be. My children have lived with me as the primary custodial parent from the day they were born through that day, November 24th, 2019. And now today is April, I believe the 22nd of 2023, and they're still with their dad, and I'm still outside sleeping in a tent 4 years later. Just so much ugly. So much ugly. I've gone to every domestic abuse resource in the country. I'm sorry, in the state. None have offered me any assistance of any kind. I've filled out 30 to 40 police reports in Lake County, Cook County, DuPage County. Not received a single response. And I filed 6 in-person petitions right here in Chicago at the Daily Center, not including what I filed at 555 West Harrison and what I've attempted to do with the state's attorney. And what I mean by that is sitting in the state's attorney's office for 2 to 4 hours at a time, waiting to speak with the state, only to be told by the clerical staff, you're not allowed. or you have to have your police report with you to speak with them. My rights, constitutional, human, and civil, have been violated at every turn. I've been robbed, beaten, raped. I've been raped 3 times since being unlawfully evicted from my own home with a rental receipt and lease in hand. They won't give me a court date, and the law won't respond to any of my police reports. I miss my children. I took up a new hobby, self-mutilation, cutting myself. So I've been cutting my thighs and my wrists and my arms, mostly because I'm being so oppressed. I'm being withheld any opportunity to earn income. I'm isolated from all my friends and my children, my cat and my puppy. And I've been literally on my own, being chased, robbed, beaten, abused, stabbed, beaten over the head, raped again, all my medication stolen, my entire wardrobe stolen 5 times. And like I said before, every day passes and there's just no end in sight. No end in sight. No one's speaking up. No one's offering any assistance, any perspective, any understanding. I've called hundreds of lawyers. There's no one calling me back. My own personal lawyer, Nick Albuquerque, instructed me in 2021 to, quote, flee the state. He was fearful for my safety. This is corrupt. After being assigned a court date, I showed up on time with everything I needed and was told there was no court date on file. That was the same day I went back home and was immediately met by police and Dylan, stating that Dylan had obtained an emergency court date against me. I had a petition in my hand. So I went a week before and filed for a court date. They wrote out, this is your court date, that day and time. I show up to court that day. I'm told, nope, you don't have a court date. Go back home. And when I get there, police and Dylan are sitting in my living room waiting to kick me out of my own house. I still kept going to court after that. Still kept going to court. What the fuck is going on in this country? How do you rationalize this? How do you justify any single fucking episode of all of this abuse as being acceptable, moral, ethical, legal, productive? I'm legitimately asking, because like I said from the photo shoot where I was sitting on top of the fridge at my last apartment in Harwood Heights at Montclair looking for new perspective, I am dying for some new perspective here. Make this make sense for me. Make this make sense. I come from humble beginnings, okay? My mom and dad both worked 2 jobs to pay a mortgage, to support my sister and I, and ultimately later my sister, myself, and my brother. I've been on my own since I was 14 years old. 14 years old on my own. Had my first apartment at 17, or 18, and I've never been without a space to live until this happened. In November 24th, 2019 is the day my children had to go live with their fathers, and January, I believe, 14th, 2 days after my birthday, is the day I was thrown out of my own apartment. So I don't know, really what else to tell you. I am clearly competent, clearly educated, clearly not crazy, clearly victimized, tired of being the victim, tired of being falsely perpetuated as the bad guy, the crazy guy. I can get crazy, who can't? Let me start beating the fuck out of you and raping you and stealing your medication and all your clothes, and we'll see how long it takes to make you crazy. Any volunteers? I didn't volunteer either.